This is Holding All the Nuts, now on 5 in Monkey Life.
This is Monkey World in Dorset, the largest ape and monkey rescue centre on the planet. Today on Monkey Life, geriatric stump-tailed macaque Coco is getting too old to groom herself.
We just give her coat a quick brush just to get any mucky bits out.
Whereas Jonathan has nothing left to groom.
He doesn't have a lot of hair left. Others started over-grooming him and pulling his hair out.
Chimp Jester gets more than his fair share of the Bachelor Boys' walnuts. And the team find out if they've stopped a skin infection outbreak in Hananya's chimp house.
Anything that's spreading throughout the group is always cause for major concern for us.
Monkey World Ape Rescue Centre is home to 11 ex-laboratory stump-tailed macaques. They're affectionately known as the Ugly Monkeys. 22-year-old Coco and 21-year-old Jonathan have been enjoying life at the park for a few years now, and they're beginning to feel their age. Coco has difficulties cleaning her skin and grooming herself, whereas Jonathan, on the other hand, is going bald through over-grooming. So it's up to the primate care staff to keep the pair in tip-top condition. And first up this morning is Jonathan. His baldness makes him sensitive to the sun, which means that he needs a special skin treatment.
Every morning we have to get him up and spray him with some sun cream, just like you would with a person. We'll try and get sort of the top of his back, because that would be, you know, the part that's sort of exposed to the sun as well. But he's very good. He's sort of used to the routine now because he gets it done every morning.
Jonathan's hair loss is thanks to over-enthusiastic grooming from the high-ranking members of the troupe, who just won't leave him alone.
Others started sort of over-grooming him and just sort of pulling his hair out rather than grooming sort of gently, but because he's low-ranking, he wouldn't sort of want to turn around to them and be aggressive and sort of say, no, that hurts, so he doesn't have a lot of hair left.
Jonathan's been having his daily treatment for 4 years, and it's proved to be a success. The lotion has stopped him from burning, and the team have the perfect way of persuading him to cooperate.
We give him a banana as a reward, so he gets clicked and treated, so he knows once the sun cream goes on, if he gets clicked for that, then that's the correct behaviour that we want, and then he'll get the reward of a banana, which is one of their absolute favourites, so it's quite a pleasant experience for him as well.
With his sunscreen on, Jonathan joins the others, safe in the sunshine, to search out his breakfast. But the geriatrics pampering session doesn't end here. Next door, Coco is eagerly awaiting her wash and brush up too. Later, Coco takes a laid-back approach to her makeover grooming session.
We just wipe her over with an antibacterial skin cleanser, and then we rub some baby nappy rash cream into her.
Chimp Ben's infected foot is on the mend.
The infection has really gone, so it's just a case of the new skin and tissue growing back.
But are the rest of the group out of danger? At the Chimp Bachelor Boy enclosure, everybody's out in force, because it's treat time. And today, they're getting walnuts. Paco decides to throw his weight around as a reminder to the group that he and the other high rankers should get the first pickings. But while he's making a big display of himself, Jester moves in and tries to grab all the food. Chimps are naturally greedy, and they don't come much greedier than Jester. Whatever's on offer, he usually manages to get more than his fair share. And it's the same today. Usually the chimps munch through exciting whole juicy melons and giant fruity freezes as treats between meals. But they're just as enthusiastic about these tiny little walnuts. And despite the nut's tough outer shell, chimps have a much larger muscular jaw than a human, so they make light work of cracking them open with their teeth. As usual, it's the low rankers who have to wait until last to get their hands on the treats. In this case, Seamus and old boy Charlie. Seamus is still wary of the big guys at mealtimes and doesn't risk joining in. Whereas Charlie is just Charlie. He's not the sharpest tool in the box. And when begging doesn't work, he just hangs back. Then the inevitable happens. With just a few nuts left, the boys start to squabble over them. Which means that Charlie can simply step in and grab one at last. Unfortunately, Charlie's only got 3 teeth. So even though he's waited patiently to get his hands on the nuts, it's going to be a little while longer before he gets to enjoy his treat. Down at Hanania's chimp house, primate care supervisor Cara is keeping a close eye on 7-year-old Ben. Recently, Ben had a very nasty infection, which sadly resulted in him losing a toe.
Come on, Benny boy.
But now, a week later, things are starting to look better.
Really now the infection has really gone, so it's just a case of the new skin and tissue growing back. But I think it will be several weeks before the foot actually looks in any way normal. You can still see a lot of the red tissue where it's healing, but we're definitely out of the danger period, and we're happy with his progress.
You all right with that?
When Ben's infection was first spotted, the team had to work quickly to find the correct antibiotics to treat him. But while the team were waiting for the test results from the lab, the bacteria spread. Other members of the troop started to show signs of similar skin infections. While most of the infections caused extremely nasty-looking sores, 11-year-old Honey had a severe reaction to the bacteria. Her tongue swelled so much that she couldn't eat or drink, and Honey could have died from dehydration. The team had to act fast. They gave her fluids and treated her with strong antibiotics and anti-inflammatories to reduce the swelling.
A tiny bit, maybe.
And now, she too seems to be on the mend.
Honey is looking much better now, so I'm really happy about that. She can close her mouth again, she can drink, she can eat.
Good, Honey.
You're such a good girl.
You are a good girl.
When Honey opens her mouth, you can still see some pussy bits on there, actually. The infection hasn't gone down completely yet. I mean, there's still some of it to be resolved, but she's still on antibiotics, and it will probably disappear within a few days, I think.
All the chimps have now been treated, but it leaves some serious questions as to why some of Hanania's troop fell ill in the first place.
This situation that we've just had in Hanania's house for the past couple of weeks is extremely unique. It was effectively the perfect storm scenario. We've got an introduction of 2 new arrivals from the nursery group. The whole group has been split in sort of half, and there's stress and introductions going on. Everybody's emotions have been up and down, and lo and behold, the individuals that are quite low ranking, at the bottom of the heap, therefore subjected to the most stress in their life, start picking up these infections that normally their bodies should just be able to deal with. So it seems like a huge nightmare, panic, oh my gosh, what's happening in Hananiah's house? But really, if you step back and look at it, what you see is actually 2 or 3 individuals who are suffering from skin infections, basically, due to normal, run-of-the-mill bacteria that you and I encounter on a daily basis.
It's been a worrying time, and the team have taken the bacterial breakout very seriously, as it could have easily been a lot worse.
Anything that's spreading throughout the group is always cause for major concern for us, to make sure we get it under control and keep it isolated, because, you know, we have pregnant individuals out there, we have babies out there, and they're very susceptible. So it was a big concern what was happening in Hananiah's house, but I think now, touch a lot of wood, we've got everything under control. Everybody's on the appropriate antibiotics, and everybody's wounds are healing up nicely now.
Later, geriatric Coco finally gets her makeover.
We just like to give it a quick brush to get any mats out, any dirt that might be in there.
Chimp youngster Eddie is no longer getting it all her own way at mealtimes. And Alison is shocked to hear some upsetting news about Capuchin Tom.
All he had was a little bit of a runny nose, and then all of a sudden his kidneys weren't functioning, like at all.
Pushing the envelope.
Yes! Yes! Come on!
Switched on.
You seem to be conducting electricity.
State of the art.
Yay!
Plugged in. Right. Environmentally friendly.
It really is an impressively designed bit of kit.
Thoroughly tested. And fully equipped.
It's hot in here.
To entertain you. And that's just the presenters. Join us for the best gadget show on TV. A new series of The Gadget Show. Monday at 8 on 5.
We believe it's the best four-door coupe in the world. If it's not, there are now more than 50 international awards we better give back. The Jaguar XF, the critically acclaimed result of a very different way of thinking. Experience the extraordinary difference at jaguar.co.uk.
Sometimes when God closes a door, Satan opens a window.
Only when there is nothing new left to see will nothing be shocking. So, till then, brand new CSI, 9 o'clock tonight on 5.
At Monkey World in Dorset, the keepers have to tend to the needs of everyone, from newborns to OAPs. Today, it's the geriatric stump-tailed macaques who are getting an MOT. Old age is getting the better of 22-year-old Coco, and she struggles to clean herself.
Go.
So the staff are on hand to help, with a regular bath and brush-up to get her back to her best.
Basically, we just wipe her over with an antibacterial sort of skin cleanser. Then we dry her off, make sure she's thoroughly dry, give her coat a quick brush just to get any sort of dry skin or mucky bits out. And then we rub some sort of baby nappy rash cream into her, and particularly onto any sores on her skin, just to help them heal up and keep her skin nice and soft for her.
These regular washes might seem like luxury, but they're really an important way of preventing Coco from picking up skin infections.
She seems to quite enjoy it. She's getting quite good. She sort of gets herself into position, sort of ready for you to pick her up. She has a little squeal when you pick her up, but once she's sort of in position and lying down, she's generally quite happy and contented. And she knows that when we're finished, she always gets a nice reward, whether it's grapes or bananas, something sort of that she doesn't usually get as a treat for sort of being well behaved.
Coco arrived at the park 2 years ago after being rescued from a pet shop in Budapest, where she lived in the same cage for 20 years. Once she arrived at the park, the first challenge was to change her diet, as she was extremely overweight.
Coco has been on quite a strict diet since she arrived here. She has successfully lost quite a lot of weight, so really pleased with her. Obviously, this has a big impact on her, the way that she moves around the enclosure, and also how she interacts with the other monkeys that are in here as well. She generally just seems a lot more happier. It means that she can come outside, explore her enclosure a lot more, and do more of what she wants to do and what you'd see her doing in the wild, really.
Right from the start, Coco formed a strong bond with animal director Jeremy. So he was able to gain her trust and start treating a skin disorder caused by years of neglect.
As sure as I can be that she actually likes the sensation of being groomed and brushed and washed, just by the fact that she is so cooperative. In fact, very often she'll go to sleep in, like, bliss as I'm brushing her hair. And
primates normally groom themselves and others regularly to keep their coats in a good condition. But Coco struggles to look after herself, so the staff are on hand to comb her coat for her.
Basically, because she sort of sits around quite a lot, we found that her fur gets quite wet. And it's just really important that, because the other boys in the group don't tend to groom her very often, we just like to give it a quick brush to get any mats out, any dirt that might be in there. Obviously, it's really important that her coat does stay in good condition. Otherwise, you know, it become matted, she gets sort of flies in it and things like that, just generally not very nice. So it's nice to keep it nicely brushed, nicely clean, so that she just remains really healthy, really.
You ready?
With a new hairdo and her morning beauty regime complete, it's just left to Toby to treat her to some juicy grapes. Later, there's some sad news about one of the park's best-loved residents, Capuchin Tom.
A lot of the times you think it's just the bigger guys that we get so emotionally attached to, but it's not. Every individual here matters just as much.
Over at Paddy's Chimp Troop, it's their turn to get all excited about walnuts. And as always, it's the high-ranking chimps who are first to tuck in. At the bottom of the pecking order in this troop is little Eddie. Life has changed a lot for Eddie recently, and not necessarily for the better. Try as she might, she's finding it increasingly difficult to get what she thinks is her fair share of anything. As a baby, she enjoyed a high status within the troop and made the most of her position, getting everything she wanted when she wanted. And if she didn't get her own way, she'd have a temper tantrum, which generally worked. But now that she's 7 years old, she's not a baby anymore. And what's even more annoying is that her baby brother Bart is now higher up the pecking order than her. And he's got a walnut, even if he doesn't know what to do with it. But Eddie is nothing if not determined. If she keeps on trying, she's bound to get one eventually. And finally, she does. This little princess may have lost her crown for now, but she's a resilient little chimp, and it's all just part of growing up. It's been a difficult day at the Capuchin Lodge, as there's been some sad news about one of the park's most lovable residents, Tom.
Yeah, one of the biggest characters here at the park sadly has passed away, and it was really unexpected. We didn't see it coming.
Although Tom was fairly old, he had been relatively healthy.
Within the last sort of 12 to 24 hours, all he had was a little bit of a runny nose, and then all of a sudden he lays down and isn't responsive. So immediately took a blood sample, rushed it off, and it came back that his kidneys weren't functioning, like at all. That meant that his kidneys weren't filtering out all of the toxins from his bloodstream, which is what your kidneys normally do. You know, I suppose, luckily for Tom, in this case, it sort of, you know, happened in a short period of time, and he just lapsed into a coma and went. So it was a peaceful end, albeit unexpected and very hard for all of us here.
Tom lived at the park for 7 years, but nobody was quite sure how old he was, as his background was a bit mysterious.
Tom came in with his mate Jerry, and they were actually taken from a gypsy camp. And at that point in time, we didn't know anything about their background other than a bit of rumor and innuendo. And I was told that Tom and Jerry lived on a diet of burgers and Coke.
At the park, Tom settled in well and quickly became the boss of the other rescued capuchin monkeys.
He took on all of these old boys, you know, Peppy, and spent time letting Peppy groom him and grooming Peppy and sort of looking after TJ, and he was always really lovely. And of course, Terry was besotted by him and used to hover around him like a butterfly, you know, flashing her eyelashes at him.
Life changed for Tom when the park rescued the 88 capuchins from Chile. The team were concerned that he might have a battle for top spot.
When those guys came in and we separated Tom and put him in with the rest of the capuchins, he didn't want to be boss. He wanted to put his feet up and have a retirement. And he handed the reins over to Gorillon, the new dominant male in the capuchins, and Tom never looked back. He just started playing, grooming, and his favorite activity, eating.
There's no denying it. Tom will be remembered for his love of food. But his heart was just as big as his appetite.
Hello, Tom. Are you going to come all the way down, or are you going to stay there? Oh.
Tom was one of the biggest characters here at the park, and that's because of both his stature and his heart. I mean, he was just loved people, and he loved seeing us every day. And when you walk past, you get all of the, you know, he would get so excited, he'd just grab himself and sort of tilt from side to side. And you know, Tom had it pretty good, actually. He was a gentle leader, and he looked after everybody, and he loved all of his keepers here at the park and all of us who, you know, were sort of putting our all into making his life a good one.
It's been a busy year for the Capuchin team, with many new arrivals to look after. But the loss of Tom is upsetting for all those who knew him and cared for him.
A lot of the times you think it's just, you know, the bigger guys, the apes or something, that we get so emotionally attached to, but it's not. Every individual here matters just as much, and Tom was a big character to lose, and we'll miss him a lot.
Next time, orangutan youngster Kai gives Amy the runaround. There's a surprise delivery for the woolly monkeys. But is history going to repeat itself for the new mum?
I just don't know what it is with Kuna at this point. I'm really disappointed.
And the nursery chimps have a ball with a colourful play session.
Oh, that was so sad. Right, must not cry as I tell you that next tonight we're on the world's most dangerous highway with the Ice Ray truckers coming up. Over on Fiverr right now, you've another chance to catch last night's brand new series of The Gadget Show. Whilst on 5 USA, it's murder Hitchcock style in CSI.
Yes. Can you give me some tissues, please? Can you tell me which is better for the environment, petrol or diesel?
Ask the right people about saving energy. Visit energysavingtrust.org.uk or call 0800 512 012.
Don't let the weather and darkness get you down. 5 brings you a triple dose of celebrity heat every weeknight at 6:25.
Warm up with us.
This is TV's only 1-hour nightly live entertainment. Tune in and join in the fun. Live from Studio 5, 6:25 tomorrow.
Okay, ladies, are you ready to walk? And it smells fantastic.
Find good fortune in fresh and fast food with me, Qinghee Huang, on Chinese Food in Minutes, starting next Tuesday at 7:30 on 5.
Hi there, it's just before 8. I'm Paul Brennan. A teenage gang member has been sentenced to 17 years in prison for the murder of teenage Army cadet Joseph Lappin. 17-year-old James Moore stabbed Joseph to death outside a youth club in October 2008. 9 other men have also been convicted for their involvement. The former Cabinet Minister Claire Short has told the Iraq inquiry she was lied to, misled and excluded in the run-up to the war. Ms Short resigned as International Development Secretary as a result of the invasion. Today she hit out at Tony Blair and suggested that even Gordon Brown was marginalised. 5 News has learned that John Terry will meet Fabio Capello by the end of the week to find out whether he'll remain England captain. As he gets ready to face the man who'll decide his fate, the woman he's allegedly had an affair with is considering whether to sell her story. Hundreds of Cadbury workers have held a protest in Westminster calling for their jobs to be guaranteed in the takeover by the company Kraft. Business Secretary Lord Mandelson is due to meet Kraft's chief executive to discuss the future of the workers' jobs. The medical journal The Lancet has retracted its study linking autism with the MMR vaccination. It caused a storm when it was published in 1998. The journal said it was reacting to a judgment which said the lead researcher, Dr. Andrew Wakefield, had used unethical research methods. A teenage girl has fought off a shark with her bodyboard after being attacked off the coast of New Zealand. 14-year-old Lydia Ward was in waist-deep water when the shark grabbed her hip, biting through her wetsuit and leaving her with cuts. A charity single to help victims of the Haiti earthquake got its first airplay today. Susan Boyle, Cheryl Cole and Leona Lewis were among the stars who took part in the cover version of R.E.M's Everybody Hurts. It's available to download on Sunday and will be in the shops on Monday. Avatar looks set to dominate this year's Oscars. Nominations were announced today and the animated epic makes it into no less than 9 categories. British stars Colin Firth and Dame Helen Mirren were also in the running for Best Actor and Best Actress respectively. The Oscars take place next month. And Phil, the world's most famous groundhog, has emerged from his burrow before chilly revelers in Pennsylvania today. Made famous by Bill Murray's film Groundhog Day, some 12,000 people gathered before dawn to see the century-old ritual. The groundhog's reaction to its shadow is said to indicate whether winter will end soon. Let's hope it does. Ice Road Truckers is up next on 5. I'm back in an hour. See you later. Bye-bye.
Pushing the envelope.
Yes! Yes! Come on!
Thoroughly tested. And fully equipped.
It's hot in here.
To entertain you. And that's just the presenters. Join us for the best gadget show on TV. A new series of The Gadget Show. Monday at 8 on 5.
The party don't start till I walk in.
Paddock watch, Prada. You're getting your money somewhere.
You are a hugely talented filmmaker. Ella has a thing for you, and you just perpetuate it. I worked so hard to get here. All my life, all I wanted was to be a doctor.
Put your hands up, put your hands up.
Just have enough people in the back, and eventually you get a knife of your own.
Ready for immediate viewing.
This is Hollywood. It's how things get done.
All new tenants, all new Melrose Place. Starts Wednesday at 9 on Fiverr.
Sometimes when God closes a door, Satan opens a window.
Only when there is nothing new left to see will nothing be shocking. So, till then, brand new CSI, 9 o'clock tonight on 5.
Slick ice and no brakes. Lisa's facing a driver's worst nightmare now on 5 in new Ice Road Truckers.
At the top of the world, there's a job that only a few would dare to do. In the dash for cash, mighty machines fall hard, and many lives are lost. Now, North America's toughest truckers
Come on, boys, saddle up, let's go.
tackle the continent's deadliest passage. Just when they thought extreme trucking couldn't get any more dangerous, those fearless few take on Alaska. They earn their living on thin ice. They are the Ice Road Truckers. In this episode of Ice Road Truckers, a massive rollover puts a life in danger.
I think he was laying right here. I'd run him over.
Brake failure puts Lisa in a runaway truck.
I'm trying to stop.
Alex makes a critical mistake.
What did I get myself in for?
Hugh faces a blinding whiteout.
Keep our wits about her today.
And new dangers emerge from the darkness of night.
Hit the moon.